Hey folks, don't mind my cat playing with her little ball, but I got the neck glued on here and it's going on real well. Let's turn it over here. So it's a nice fit all the way through. It's nice and solid. The glue squeeze out came out evenly, as you guys saw in the last video. So I'm going to be doing a few tweaks. Just later on, I'm going to sand these corners down some, so they'll go into the body a little bit smoother and blend in nicely. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. But yeah, the neck is on, and it's sitting there nice and solid. I don't have any problems with it. So excuse me, but just a side note, it is hockey season, so I'm going to be here I'm probably going to work on this for about an hour or so. So get to watch Kings play. Hopefully they win against the Sharks tonight. But anyway, let's get to this. Alright. That should be good. Excuse me one second. Okay, finally got the camera where I want it. But yeah, the neck came on great. I got some glue squeeze out on the sides here, on the inside of the bridge of the neck pickup. I'm just going to take one of my chisels here. I'll get the smaller one, and it's nice and sharp. I sharpen these each time I use them. I sharpen them right away, right after, just so every time. So next time I have a project where I need them, they're going to be nice and sharp. So just very carefully and slowly is key. Take the glue squeeze out of the places I can reach. Pull that out. Well, piece there, we don't need that anymore. Not taking them out of here is not going to harm anything, but if I see something I can fix, I'm going to go ahead and fix it. Just save some time and annoyance of knowing that that's there. One thing to note about this guitar is that it didn't come with a nut, and as you can see here, there's a little bit of gap. See if I can get better angle on that. Let's get in the right spot. Right where the fingerboard starts, there's a tiny little gap of the maple that sits right behind where the fingerboard starts. So and you know, I could just drop in a nut in there, but you got to measure the exact scale length of your guitar to set correctly. And can't remember who to thank on the Electric Guitar Builders page on Facebook, but somebody reminded me check the scale length, because for some reason I forgot. And from looking at this, the scale length of this guitar, or to get the scale length, you put your ruler up against a long straight edge up against a nut and measure from the nut to the front edge of the 12th fret. So we are at about 12 and what is that, 12 and a third, somewhere around there. But the scale length is about 24 and a half, maybe just a tad bit more, but I can't remember the math on it. I wrote it down somewhere, but it's somewhere around here, and my math with a measurement sucks as far as going on all the fractions and crap like that. But I'm not built for math. Putting stuff together, I'm great anyway. But yeah, so one second, I'll find my pencil here. Okay, I'm back. Should prepare more for whenever I do these videos, but anyway, I'm doing this all on a whim. So the measurement, the scale length is about a 24 and a half, just a tiny bit above that. So measure out where the bridge is going to go, and this is just an approximation of where it's going to go. Once I get, yesterday I ordered the nut, some tuners, and the floating bridge, or the roller bridge with the rose base from GFS. Cost me like 60 bucks overall with shipping. So, you know, with the bridge I don't have to drill into the wood, which is nice because I don't have a drill press. And as I said before, I have one of those little stands you hook your drill up to and drill straight down, but it's not that accurate, and I'd rather keep it as accurate as possible to and you know, make it as easy as possible to put this guy together. So got that rosewood bridge that'll sit on top, and I can just slide it back and forth to line up and get the perfect placement for the bridge, so it intonates correctly. And once I get that bridge, I'll have this tailpiece sitting in the back like this. So again, this is just to take away the need for any kind of drilling once I get this guy together. I'm trying to find the easiest and or the laziest way to put this thing together, so and cheapest, and that's why I like Guitar Fetish so much. I buy parts from them all the time. Sometimes it's hit or miss on electronics, and like every now and then I'll get some of their control pots and they just don't work, and I wire them perfectly. I've been wiring guitars for a long time, so I know how to solder, but sometimes it just doesn't work, and they're fairly cheap compared to most places. So, you know, I don't expect them to be perfect all the time. Like one guitar of mine, I need to change out one of these guys. When you turn the volume all the way down, it doesn't go all the way down. It sounds like it's just about halfway, but that's just one in maybe 20 control pots I buy from them. This one's a 500K, and and yeah, for the price I'm not going to complain too much, but that's something to look out for. Speaking of electronics, I'm not big on using tone controls on my guitars. The 3 that I built with a warm earth body, one of them with a GFS neck, I don't have any tone controls on them because I just never use it. I'll use it occasionally on a guitar that has single coils, like I have an Ibanez Talman with the lipstick pickups, and I'll use that occasionally, but most of the time I don't. I'm not saying that tone controls are useless, but it's very useful, but it's just not for me. Yeah. So I just don't install them on my guitars. But with this guy, I'm definitely going to use it. Why do I keep measuring this? So I will have the standard volume, tone, output, and 3-way switch. And I got a couple pieces of tape here just so I can mark a line on where I believe the bridge is going to go. And I ordered the nut and a set of tuners from GFS. Should be getting it here sometime next week. But for the time being, I will be working on the neck. The neck is fairly rough. It feels like they sanded it to about maybe 300, but no, you could see all the sanding scratches on there, and I kind of wish I did it. I kind of did the finish sanding beforehand, but you know what? I'm not too worried about it. So I got my sandpaper out here. I just buy a full set of these just in case I need them. I got 60 to 400. I think this stuff was from the dollar store. No, this is 3M, but I got a set here I got from, I believe, the dollar store, or I think it might have been Harbor Freight. But I don't want to use this. The grit on these just fall right off, and you know, you think you're sanding with 200 and all of a sudden it's 400, but it's 400 and like here, and then 200 here, then about 300 here. So for this, I'm not going to use the cheap stuff. So I'm going to go with the old 3M, and see if I have any higher grades. Got some 320. This I'm going to go from probably about 150. I'm going to do a couple test spots on the back of the headstock, and just slowly work my way up through the grades. I'll probably stop at about 500 or 600. Just, you know, if you have a better suggestion, let me know. Again, this is a learning experience for me. I'm not the best guy at finishing, so I'd rather be sitting here soldering all day. Be a lot more fun, but you know, I want to build this thing all the way through. Anyway, that is where I'm at. It's going to be sanding and waiting for parts to come in. And once the parts come in, I'll install the tuners, and then put the bridge up, hook a couple strings to line up the bridge. One for the edges of the fingerboard, because as I said, I believe in first or second video, that the bevel on the frets are setting up really high. So I'm afraid that if I, you know, fret the either of the E strings, they're gonna slip off, because they tend to do that if you know, your bevel's too high or too close to the center, as these are, as I feel them anyway. But I'm gonna sand this neck down some, and then once I get the tuners, install them, hook up the bridge, blah 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 blah, line it up, and then I'm gonna keep the pieces of tape on here. So once I find that perfect spot, I'm gonna do a somewhat of an intonation on the bridge temporarily, and so, you know, I get a better feel of how accurate the intonation is when I get it. And also, once I get the nut, I'll have to compensate for that tiny little spot, that tiny little shelf. Try to focus. That's sitting behind that fretboard, fingerboard, same thing. But see if I get a better shot here. Nope, it's kind of at the center of my workbench, so that's where we're gonna go. So we'll push it all the way back here, and to kind of fix up that area, as I did with the neck pocket, I will use some of the veneer that I got. So I'll cut a bit of an oversized piece, and I'll probably cut this a size, or close, an oversized piece, put it in there, temporarily put the nut on the back, so I got some pressure pushing up against it, so that little spot to compensate for that little piece of rosewood not being there. Looks like I guess part of the reason why they put this on the factory buyout section was because of that. So I'm going to assume that anyway. And on the back of the headstock, there are already some holes pre-drilled for the tuners, and I think I got some of their Keystone Green type tuners that go straight down. So I'll get some toothpicks and plug those holes, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. So hold on one second. Okay, back. Got some toothpicks from the kitchen, and I'm gonna start filling these holes. Got my old Titebond glue, and let's get some glue on this a little piece of paper towel. Okay. Don't need much. My flush cut pliers ready to go. Might have to get a new set of these soon. The blades on the end of the pliers are kind of jagged from 3 years of use, but okay, with the toothpicks, when I start them off, I tend to nip off just part of the tip right there. You know, nip the tip. You know, Father, what's his face from Robin Hood Men in Tights, and terrible scene. But I just nip off about that much, and then start fitting the toothpicks where they should go. And that's because when you know, I don't want, when I plug the holes, I don't want, you know, that much of the little tip of the toothpick not covering the bottom of that hole, so it sits in there a little tighter, so you got more material to work with, or to for the tuner screw to grab onto. So plugging holes is as simple as getting some glue. Don't need a lot, and then just shoving that in there as far as you can, and where's my scraper? You know what? This'll do. Get that excess. Probably didn't need that much. Some more than enough, but more is better than less in these cases sometimes. But scrape off as much of that glue as I need and let that sit. Normally some people would glue that on there and nip the end off right away, but personally I just like to have it sit in there for a little while, so you know, it does, while you're cutting, it doesn't pull up or down or whatever when you squeeze the pliers in there. So do another one here. It's probably too much as you again, but that should do. So squeeze out again. With, if you're a beginner at any kind of woodworking and you have you're gluing a couple pieces, it's better, not completely necessary, to get the glue squeeze out as early as possible, just to save yourself the time later from having to do more sanding later once, you know, when the glue's dried. Granted, it's not the hardest thing in the world to get off, but just save yourself the time and, you know, do it ahead of time, and you'll have a cleaner look, and you'll save a lot of time from having to sand or scrape or chisel away that excess glue. And with this, I'm going to push down and use the tops of these, so no point in wasting these. See if this one's too big to sit in there. Yeah, actually it might work. It's a little too tight, but that's actually good. So let's get that in there. Oops, that's okay. Force that in there. Piece of paper towel. Okay, that's done. Let's see if I can shove that in just a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. Let's try the other ones. First one here. That's good. Glue. And a couple taps. Let's get them in there. glue. And we got one more for this side. Nipping the tip. Rabbi Tuckman. That was the name of of Mel Brooks' character. Can't believe I forgot that. I love that movie. As any man my age of 37 would. Okay, that's in. And there we go. That's one side done. And I'll leave that there for a few hours. I'll probably work on it some more tomorrow. I'll probably do more sanding tomorrow since it's kind of late now, and the game's going to start here in about 45 minutes. So I'll let that sit, let that dry, and I'll do the other side. Save you guys the awesome time of watching me plug tuner holes or tuner screw holes, and just turn this off and you guys have a good one. As an addition to scraping glue or wiping off glue ahead of time to save some hassle, I'm going to go ahead and leave some in one of these tuner holes. I'm down on my last one here. Or my last set. Okay, scrape. Again, not too worried about my chisel scratching at the wood. Again, this is a little beater guitar I'm putting together, so I'm not going to be too concerned of off some scratches. Take a lot more work later on to make the finish perfect on here, which it's not going to be. Okay, this last hole, and it's good. I want a bigger. Okay, that's in there, and with that spot of glue, I'm gonna leave that on there. I'm sure some of you guys are freaking out. Why are you leaving this on there? You say some work later. I'm like, excuse me, I'm cleaning off some stuff off my chisel, but I'm just going to show the people who, who haven't plugged many holes, giggity, show them what extra work means whenever you don't clean off the glue residue or the glue squeeze out after plugging a hole or putting or setting a neck on a guitar. It's just, again, if you don't know, it's just going to save you a lot of time and hassle later when when the glue is set and you start trimming these off. You got less material to scrape off or chisel or sand off, so it's just a big time saver. So just take your time with it, and sometime tomorrow I'll resume this video with the cutting of these and doing some cleanup on the neck pocket here. Or you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the neck pocket now. I still have about 15 minutes or 30 minutes left till the start of the game, so give me a couple minutes. I'm gonna go resharpen this chisel and do a little bit of scraping on the neck pocket for that excess glue, so I'll be right back. Actually, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I sharpen my chisels. This is just a little sharpening stone set I got from Amazon for like 15 bucks. This is really cheap stuff. It breaks off fairly easily, but it does the job I needed to do for now. Again, this is all project. That's where that was. Little knob puller from StuMac. Anyway, I was looking for that, but It was a little cheap set. Again, I'm on a budget all the time. It's not that I can't get the better stuff, but you know, if I can do it with the cheap stuff, I might as well do it with it. But a little bit of water here, and just start slowly flattening out that bottom. And a good set of videos to watch too is Ben Crow from Crimson Guitars. He has tutorials on he has a sharpening masterclass set of tutorials on his website, on his channel for Crimson Guitars. Shows you how to sharpen your chisels, and it's a great video. I watched every single bit of it and learned a lot from it. So I'm keeping the chisel as flat as possible on the stone as I slide back and forth. And what I'm doing, or what this is doing, is really flattening out the bottom. And I'm using the rougher stone right now. So a little bit of water, and I'm going to do this angled edge, and do that. Put your finger on the tip, slide back. Now, when you get close to where you want, the edge, that ramp, should be a little shinier than the other side, than the rest of it. So I got some glue residue here from previous projects, so there's going to be some on there. Now this is a next step up. So a little bit of water at the bottom. Okay, and now the top. Oops. Get a paper towel here real quick. Nice and dry so it doesn't rust. So that front edge and the back are getting nice and clean and shiny again. So I'll go with this a little bit more. Clean. Careful when you wipe this off too, because I have tried to wipe off a knife and a chisel and slid up as fast as I could and then sliced my finger open like that. So it wasn't a bad cut, but just be careful when you're handling knives or chisels or anything that's sharp. The more you know, and knowing's half the battle. So this is the finest part of this sharpening set. So last one. Not as clean as I thought it would get, but close enough. Now to the top. I'm not putting a lot of pressure, by the way. I'm just setting it down, putting a little bit of pressure, and moving from one spot to another on the stone. So, you know, it gets, because eventually the stones will wear down from all your scraping and pushing, and all the little granules in there will slowly just come off while you're sharpening. So there's a little burr, feel that, that's nice and sharp now. And flatten that out. know it's not a perfect job, but that is nice and sharp. So, give me one sec, get the guitar back on here, and I'm going to start scraping some of that glue off. Okay, I'm back. Got my guitar sitting up on here at a weird angle. I got my neck rest propped up, guitar sitting on top of it. Well, that's gonna do. So I just don't want to put too much downward pressure. So this is just clean up with that glue residue. Now, some people might ask, why don't you use a razor blade or your utility knife? I could use it, but you know, thing is, when you're using a utility blade like this, the blade sits, the point of the blade sits like that, right at the edge, and you're not going to get down deep and perfectly flat in there, and you run the risk of, you know, chipping off some of the wood. You could do it if you're really, really careful and really, really slow. If you take your sweet time with it, yeah, you could do it. But again, with the chisel, you got a flat surface that could sit on top of the flat surface here and slowly just chip away at that glue. It's going to be a little bit tougher. Get in there. That's okay. Get the top. I'm just lifting up some of that glue that's sitting right on the surface. Okay, let's do the other side. There's a little more on the surface here of the fretboard, but over the neck, I mean. But I'm not going to worry about that so much, because that, once I get to the finish sanding point, I'm going to sand that stuff right off. So right now, not too worried. That was a little scary. That's okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to sand that off. So get as much of this excess glue out of here. And that's it. That's what I can get for now. So, let's see if I can get one of my needle files in there. Okay, needle files, Stumac, blah 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 blah. You can get them cheaper somewhere else probably, but I was there and I had the money and I got bored, so and I didn't feel like going to the store to get some. So yeah, file those off. I'm mainly putting pressure on the back or towards the body. Try not to hit the neck so I didn't get a hard line down there of where I filed. And in doing so, I'm taking off that hard edge of the body that's sitting up on the neck. So I'm going to be doing this for a while. And to save myself from messing up while I talk and do something at the same time, I'm going to let you guys go. Anyway, peace.